Hello and welcome to this guide. Today we're going to be having a look at Talionite's latest map, Kingdom, and it's not exactly going to be the best guide just yet, but I really want to just get something out there. So there's not going to be any editing just because I'm really lazy, and yeah, that's enough said. But this should give you a general guide on how to do each shot. There is a couple holes that are quite hard, and so I may not be able to get them. But I'll basically give you the general idea. I mean, I'm picking up this game after about 2 weeks of not playing it, not having had any run throughs, so it might not all go to plan. I do plan to eventually do all the Talionites again, but with a proper sort of step by step basis and a better sort of guide format. But I've just been really lazy at the moment. But I've basically been meaning to do this for like 3 weeks, probably. In fact, since it came out, I'm just too lazy. That being said, a lot of the shots are really easy, like hole one, and I'll basically just try and talk you through it and explain where I go wrong if I do go wrong. So for this hole one, I recommend zooming in a bit, just easier to aim exactly where you want. And we're just going to go on the left hand side of the blue. And what I mean by that is, as you can see in the bottom left where the power bar is, you've sort of got these letters and then green and blue. And that's basically what we're going to use to aim our power with. So left hand side of the blue, straightforward, maybe a bit left, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you're straightforward, you'll be fine. But don't use any more power or any less, as you'll either start rolling back down or even worse, go down there. After that, you're just going to aim at the flag at the left hand side of P in power, and if you can aim correctly, then you should go in. Obviously, if you aim further right or further left, your power will vary. But yeah, so as I say, this guy's not going to be the best guide in the world, as there's going to be a lot of sort of quiet time and stuff, but hopefully I can show you exactly what to do. Okay, so hole two, what you're going to do is you're going to go one left, three up. So you want to sort of right click and move your camera so it's roughly in line with there. As this is one of the reasons why I hate this sort of game, is that when I move my power, my screen doesn't move. If that had, then this game would be really easy to do. So we're going to aim at the left hand side of E, one left, three up, and we should bounce around and go down for the hole in one. So a lot of these first few are quite easy, but there are a few hard ones. Well, maybe not even hard, but a bit more inconsistent. But even if I do miss, I should be able to show you where I went wrong and also how you can improve to get that hole in one. So this one's really easy. You just time base. You're going to go at the left hand side of the O in stroke, straight forward, and you're just going to release when it either starts going back from the right or back from the left. It doesn't matter. And as you can see, I get over perfectly. Now I have stayed up here once, right there, but every other time I've come down and gotten a hole in one. I don't think I've ever missed going down the slide itself, but there's always a first, especially on mini golf games where you always seem to hit invisible walls. Okay, hole four is a hole in two. I would say the hard bit is the second shot, as it's all timing based. The first one's really easy. So what you're going to do is move your camera, and we're going to be using this sort of cross here, full power. I'll sort of obviously have the pointed cursor, and I'm lining up the left hand side of it with that line, and then you're just going to release as the purple thing starts to come back from the right hand side. This is a pretty cool shot. Is it possible in one? I've gotten closer than that before. I've gone sort of up to about here before, sort of 3/4 of the way up, but I very much doubt it is possible. After that is the hard shot. I like to go over a bit so I can see the face of this trailing piece here. and you're going to go forward. And I normally go sort of T power. You can use more or you can use less, sort of left hand side of T, and then release as the face appears. And that goes in. Obviously, there's a wider range of aiming, but I feel as the face appears or just after, T power, sort of straightforward, maybe to a bit to the left of the flag, and you should be fine. This one is all about timing, but it is quite easy. However, I have missed it a few times, and I'll try and explain why. So firstly, you're just going to release full power straightforward as it comes back from the left-hand side. You have to wait until it comes back from the left-hand side. Using the right-hand side won't work, as you need to hit this bar here. Now the second shot, we're going to go full power, and you can release either way on this one, as it comes back from the right or as it comes back from the left, but you need to delay it just a bit. You also don't want to aim directly at the flag, as I have sort of hit the cup of the flag and flown out. So I normally aim just a bit to the right. I'm going to release as this purple bit comes into sort of just in line with this when it starts to come back. Like so. And as you can see, I get over without hitting the purple, and I should roll back down. I have gotten stuck there a few times. It is probably the hole I get stuck on around the most. But yeah, so it's quite easy. And then hole 6, I think, is the one that is quite tricky. You have to aim up. I recommend zooming in fully, but the power isn't too hard. But I recommend, so the power is sort of halfway between the E and the left-hand side of the 0, sort of about there. And then you sort of, as you can see, in my position, all I've done is zoom in. I haven't changed the camera angle. I'm sort of maybe going to overlap at the tip here 1 or 2 pixels across this center line. Obviously, if you miss the aim, it has to be very precise. You won't go in, but luckily I do. It's a fairly consistent shot. I learned it from someone, I can't remember who it was. I think I saw it in a guide, actually. I saw it in one of those Steam guides. Hole 7, I don't like this strat, but it's the best that we can come up with just yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to aim for this sort of cross here, and you're going to go full power just before they touch. If you get it right, then you should come down and go in for the 1. Obviously, if you go around the other way, it's really annoying. But you want to aim, just so you go down there, you want to aim for the inside line. So full power inside line on the sort of moving up and down barriers. And then, yeah, you'll either get a 3 or 4. So this one I really don't like. It seems to be inconsistent, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go sort of 2 left, 3.5 up. This is the only shot I've got at the moment. There is a couple others sort of, I think it's even full power like in this intersection of the rocks, but I haven't tried it, so I'm not going to do it in this video. Sort of about 3.5, and then let me just check my notes. It's sort of the mid, it says the mid number, so about that, which I feel like is going to be completely wrong, but no, there you go. But luckily with that strat, if you end up just at the top there, then you've got an easy 2. Obviously, if you go down the sides, then it's a bit more tricky, and you just have to get out normally. But you'll either get like a 2 or a 3 normally, if you know what you're doing. Hole 9 is a fairly easy strat. You're just going to aim sort of at the top left cross here, maybe a bit right as well, and then you're just going to use the left hand side of the R about there, and the aim is to bounce around, not go into that hole, and then just fall down here, and that will get you the hole in 1. It does take a bit of practice, but as I say, it's as long as you're aiming just to the right of the cross at the top, then you'll be fine. Don't aim any further, as all sorts of things can happen. You can use like I think it's like the left hand side of the tee, or maybe even further left. And you can get other places. So this one is probably the only, one of only 2 holes that I don't really have a consistent strat on. As you can get a free, but it's so inconsistent that it's just like not even worth it. But it's the third shot. There's no set aim for the third shot, and this is always the problem with sort of tie night. So basically what you're going to do is the right hand side of the O, you can do sort of like full power like here, just slightly like the lower section of the ramp, but I haven't tried that. That's again just going off of a guide, straightforward. I went a bit too far. So we'll try this. Basically, your aim is to land down there. Yeah, and the same happened here. I've gone a bit too far, so you just need to aim a bit more left. There you go. So it's a decent strat. I've never done this before, so it was a bit rookie to me. Hole 10, you can go sort of, you can get up here, I feel like, with enough power, but it's really not worth it. So I think it's just left hand side of the blue. Again, this is just me guessing at the moment. It's unlike GWYF where you can reset and then practice stuff. You can do it now. So I'm in a bad spot here. You can do sort of full power. And if you're sort of over here, then you can bounce off the center and get in. But that is inconsistent. We're actually going to go O power just to be safe. And then just get an easy hole in 4. In theory, obviously. But a hole in 4 is possible. But I think you're much more likely to get a 4 than you are to get a 3. I have gone a 3 a few times, but never in a run. Well, never in a good run, but then again, I haven't really tried for a good run. So hole 11, easy possible in 1. You're going to aim for the mid sort of blue and mid green. So basically what that means is sort of the left-hand side, as you can see here, between the 4 and the S, left-hand side of the blue, to sort of the left-hand side of the S, straightforward. You can even go left-hand side of the S. It's better to be a slightly bit more power as you actually get up there, and you will go in. That's the first time that's ever happened. I didn't even know that was possible. So learn something new every day. But as I say, so the last 2 holes have been a perfect example of why I need to do sort of editing in the guides, but as I say, I'm really lazy. So hole 12, really simple, full power, straightforward, and you're just going to release in the tile, the center of the tile before each green, so that's sort of now. So it's in the red tower, full power, straightforward, and you'll go in. You're just aiming for the center of the red tile before the green. It's really simple. And then you get a wide variety of fireworks depending on how quickly you go up the sprout. Is it a sprout? I think it's a sprout. Might be mixing it up with some other stuff. Oh shit, I can't remember what this strat is. Actually, no, I do remember. So it's straight forward, sort of the middle of the black, and it's as it comes back. So now, because it's the same power as hole 14. I have missed a few times after going in here, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But it is known to be like a quite glitchy hole, especially if you go around the normal way. It's quite annoying. Ooh, that hole especially, it's quite easy to get in. But if you miss, it's honestly like the worst. It's honestly terrible. Hole 14, as I said, same power, maybe a tiny bit more. It doesn't really matter as long as you're aiming straight. So I would probably go a tiny bit more, closer to the 4, straightforward. Obviously, if you go further left or further right, your sort of distance where you go is going to be different. So you need to make sure you do aim straight there. So far so good, this guy's not going too bad. But now we're on hole 15 and we start getting to the sort of two tricky holes. So hole 15 is fairly easy, but it is very timing based. But yeah, as I say, so what you're going to do is you're going to sort of zoom out so you can see this, and you're going to go for that left hand side of P power. Now I like to release when this platform sort of comes back to us, but you can release when it starts to go away as well. But it's a slightly more lenient, although you don't need it as it starts to come back, as obviously like there's just a wider range to aim at. So now for the second slot, you need to get onto this boost as far right as possible. So you're just going to go full power, aiming sort of just there, and then you just got to get the timing release. And the timing is fairly easy, but watch me say that I ain't miss it. But no, there you go. So now the next shot is to get actually straight here. So obviously if you're playing it safe, you can go around here. But what we're going to do is, since we landed really far right, we can go full power. And I like to aim at this cross and then maybe slightly right. And I've actually ended up on 3 situations here. So I've ended up on the purple. I've ended up on this side here. And both of those situations, you just do full power at the hole and get the timing right. But here, you've got to do the power. It's a tiny bit different. I think it's the left-hand side of the K. I may be wrong, though. There you go. And you want to release sort of, because I ended quite far left, I can release as it's sort of back, but you will end up, depending on where you aim on that third shot, you will end up in slightly different spots, and so the timing can be harder than the one I had. But nonetheless, a hole in 4, potential for a hole in 3, but very much doubt it. Hole 16 is the hole that I haven't actually gotten to yet, but there are a few sort of ideas. So I'm going to go with the route that I know and watch it not be consistent. So what you're going to do is aim straight forward, left hand side of the blue. The aim is basically to land as far here. So the hole in 2, I think you need to end up slightly left or slightly right, and you basically do full power, bounce off this, and you'll end up going down, and then it's just a bit of luck. So we're actually going to go for that. I probably will miss it, but live and learn, I guess. So I missed. I went too far right, but this is actually the shot you want. If you want to aim too far right just to go over here, it's the simplest place to go. Aim just so you don't hit this and you will be fine. And now here's just the lucky bit. I haven't got a consistent shot for this. I don't know if there is one. I thought maybe you could go down and then down the right side, but that hasn't worked. So really it's just hit and hope. You don't want to go too much power, but you also don't want to go too little. So I'm going to go left hand side of P and just release sort of, I released too late. But as you can see, so ideally you want to hit the right hand side again and go down. And as you can see, this is just a bit of a shit show now. In the place I'm going to do, I'm going to go full power and pray. But if you're sort of already landed down there, like more in the center, don't do full power as you will go flying out. So 2 bad strats, hole 10 and hole 16. But I mean, hole 16 is just, I don't like the last bit. It moves too quickly and you hit too much. And hole 17 is just the worst. I think I've gone a hole in 1 once, and I've gone on this hole like 20 times. But basically what you're going to do is just release when the tip of the arrow just gets into this dark bit next to the red, as you can see up here. And I believe the power is the left hand side of the black, sort of where the 17 is. So you do need to zoom out for this. I think I might have released a tiny bit too late. Oh yeah, I did. So if you release a tiny bit too late or a tiny bit too early, again, minuscule amounts, you'll end up either here or here. Obviously, if you go in, it's just such a small hole. It's better to release it a tiny bit too late though, because you'll end up here. If you release too early, then you have to go through all of this. So if you're really playing it safe, then I would release a tiny bit after, so just as it goes into the red, and that will end up here. And obviously a bit later, you could even get there. But nonetheless, we're just going to go for an easy put, sort of in line with maybe the sort of L to the sort of left hand side of E, and you'll go in for the condor. So as I say, it's not been the worst guide possible, but just a couple of mistakes. And eventually I will go around and try and improve this, but for now, this will do. Hole 18, definitely possible in 2. That's what we're going to go for. But I really want to test it, sort of get in time. So sort of, as you can see, this will blow up and it'll push you to the hole. But just a theory, but it's like a 1% chance it works, is if you can get hit in the air, does that change the route of your aim? But I doubt it. So our aim is just to get onto the board thing, the fan thing. So we just do left hand side of blue. They'll fire us up, and we'll bounce off the top because it teases you for the hole in one, gets all the YouTubers, and then you fall back down. Now we just have to wait for us to stop, and we'll just get beaten about. Now the power is the left hand side of T. Straightforward. And then just release. So as you can see, we did pretty good. We got a grand total of 38. Obviously, hole 10 is possible in 3, so -5. Hole 11, we got unlucky, -1. And then 16 is possible in 2. So we're looking at, 6, 9. So we're looking at 29, I think, maybe. 29, 30 ish, something like that. 28 to 38. I remember it being. I think it was like the late 20s. But yeah, so it's a fairly consistent strat, as you can see. Slight error on hole 10. But yeah, so I'm losing my voice now, as you can see. I hope this was fine. I will eventually improve it, and I will eventually improve all the other ones. I think there's a guy called Dr. Rabbit or something like that who has like 4,000 hours in this game, and so I might try and contact him and ask for some strats on other holes. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope this helps, and if it does, just let me know. If you've got any best strats, please do post a video in the comments or something, and I'm going to end the video before my voice just fully goes. So cheers for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.